Hello Internet, a bit of an unusual video today for you. Not a repair related. Well, it kind of is related because I repair everything that I own, including my car. So recently my TPMS sensor had broken off, as you can see, and I just went ahead and I went online and I ordered myself a Toyota OEM sensor, and then when it arrived, it was completely dead, in my mind at least anyway. So in reality, the sensor that, by the way, looked just like this. See, this is a brand new sensor, had never been installed. It was sleeping, so I was unable to program it. I wasn't able to read anything off of it because it was sleeping from the factory. And not all sensors come sleeping from the factory. As a matter of fact, this very device here comes with a bunch of sensors in the kit that are not sleeping. They are ready to be programmed. And so, forgive me for my voice, dry throat, just woke up. So I ran into an immediate problem of being unable to activate the sensor. So I went to, that's right, I went to Google and I started looking up for a solution. How in the world do you activate the sensor in order for it? How do you wake up the sensor so that you can program it? And the solutions that were proposed by Google, as well as the chatbot, ChatGPT, whatever artificial intelligence, were just as intelligent as the monkeys out in the jungle that had never seen a technology, let alone digital technology. So, I'm sorry. So what they were suggesting me, oh, these are centrifugal force activated, so you could tie this to a rope and then swing it around and it won't activate it. They say, well, it has to be inside the tire, and then you have to inflate the tire, and then you have to drain it for like 10 seconds while triggering it with your TPMS tool in order for it to wake up. Did not work. Then they say, well, you have to drive around for 20 minutes while licking Obama's ass and, shouting some controversial collection of words out of your mouth while driving on the highway at 90 miles an hour. That didn't work either. Then they say, well, you have to do this and that. Nothing worked. So centrifugal force did not activate it. Shouting out the window did not activate it. Installing it into the tire, which I already have installed one into my tire, and it's still sleeping around for probably several months now. Can't wake it up. And then, deflate it for 10 seconds while triggering. It doesn't work. Now, the funny thing is, once I opened the kit with which this thing came, I saw a piece of magnet, and I was like, what does this magnet have to do with anything? And so then I went into the my Toyota there. One thing you got to keep in mind, especially if you're doing like a Toyota, and maybe you're doing some kind of other vehicle, is that if you look up the model, and when you buy these sensors, even though they say OEM, they may be OEM, but they're different model numbers. See, the original one is C010. The other one I got is 1070J. So these are both OEM, and they're both recognized. They're both recognized by this thingy here. So it tells me that this is the original that I have, and this is the one that I'm going to put in. And so what activated the sensor was none of the things that I mentioned before, with the exception of the magnet. So once I started programming this thing, I put the magnet on there, and it started programming right away. Let me show you. As a matter of fact, I will show you that the sensor is indeed now programmed. It's just not programmed into the vehicle. So the vehicle, I'm not exactly sure, but I think the vehicle will not recognize this. It will not be paired to the vehicle yet, because pairing has to be done with via OBD. You cannot pair it to the vehicle just by itself, just by having a TPMS tool. So right now, the vehicle recognizes this hex code. It does not know what this hex code represents. Okay, and so let's go ahead and go into the menu. I'm not going to show the whole process. I'm just going to show you what is it that I have. So let's trigger this. Let's move this out of the way so it doesn't trigger it. So right there, my sensor's right there. And that ID right there, the hex ID matches what's printed on the sensor. So that's the ID that my vehicle will recognize. Now if I scan the new sensor that I had programmed earlier, let's see, right there. Why? It's not even showing anything. Hold on a sec. Well, it's not showing anything because we're in the wrong sensor. So we gotta go into this one because that's what this is. Delete everything previously recorded. Yes. Okay, let's trigger. Right there. See? Now, exact same thing. The ID here matches the ID there. So when you go in with the OEM sensors, most likely you're not going to be able to change this. And so you're going to have to program this hex into your vehicle. Now, if you're using an aftermarket sensor, such as the MX sensor, let me see. And this is just a concept. I'm not exactly sure if that's true or not. Just assuming. So I click here, and all I want to do is I want to transfer this hex and everything else associated with this hex data into this sensor so that I can install this into my car. So let's see if that works. I'm probably gonna waste this sensor because it can only be programmed once, if I'm not mistaken, because I am unable to program this anymore. Okay, so I'm going to trigger. It's not going to trigger anything. I'm going to have to go into programming. And so we're just going to copy by activation. And by activation is we previously scanned this data, and then we're going to copy it over to this guy. Now let's see if that works. Okay, that doesn't seem to work. Oh, there it is. Okay, programming successful. So now you can see, let's go back and do the check. It doesn't really matter which one we're testing right now. Sure, let's delete that. Let's trigger. See if it'll detect it. Yes. So if you look at this guy, it does not have any hex data imprinted on it. So it doesn't care what ID it has. But this one does. And its ID is different for whatever reason. Why is this ID different? Does it match this guy? Oh, okay, so we copied this guy. Okay. Okay, so we actually copied this guy into that, which is exactly what I want to know. But I wonder, can you copy it again? Let me see. Let me see if these MX sensors can be reprogrammed more than once. Let's see. Oh yeah. Oh, it's going. Nice. So apparently this sensor can be programmed more than once, which is great. In case you made a mistake and then you want to reprogram it to something else. Now let's go ahead and let's clear that out. Now let's copy this hex ID. Nope, I copied the wrong one. Let's go back. Let's get all these sensors away. They're too close. It's picking them up. Let's try again. It's not gonna do it because we're in the wrong sensor. So let's go back. Let's go back. We gotta go in here. Go back. Camry. This one. Yes, delete all the previously data. Okay, scan. There we go. So there's my D43. Now let's see if we can program D43 into this sensor. Actually, I don't need that. We need to go into programming. Yeah, cancel. I know. Let's go into programming. I gotta scan this thing again. I'm sorry. Yeah, delete. Trigger. Okay, so we're gonna go program. Bring back that sensor that we had programmed second time already, so let's program it a third time. And let's see if the ID will transfer over from the new sensor into this one. There we go. Looks like it's programming. That's very nice. Now it's testing the sensor right away. Come on. All right. So let's go back. Let's scan this guy and let's delete everything. So now we have Oh, we were scanning the wrong one. Okay, so we actually programmed it as this. Yes. Delete. Trigger. No? Come on. There we go. So now, yeah, sometimes these things kind of go glitchy a bit. Because it's Android, what do you expect? So now you see this ID, this hex ID is actually on this sensor. And so now you see the problem. The problem is that that the OEM sensors can only be programmed with whatever hex ID they have imprinted on them. And aftermarket sensors, or the universal ones, they can be programmed with whatever hex ID. So you can even manually enter hex ID if you wanted to. But in order for you, so you can see the dilemma. Once you got the OEM sensor that has a different hex ID that's not in the system of your vehicle, you have to actually program this ID into your vehicle by using an OBD adapter and a tool that is capable to do so. And hopefully that answers some of your questions. It definitely did answer a lot of my questions that I didn't know, and I couldn't even find a solution online anywhere, so I kind of had to figure this out on my own. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you learned something today, and if so, please hit me with a like, subscribe, and I'll see you later. Goodbye.